I'm talking about science fiction and associated categories. Okay. Now, look at the origins of science fiction. What is the earliest science fiction? You could even say, I mean, if one school of thought would be to say that the Pushpaka Vimana in the Ramayana is also science fiction. That the story of Icarus in Greek legend is also science fiction. But the point is that all these were not shown as science as much as miracles, right? There is no explanation for the Pushpaka Vimana in the Ramayana.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about, when you want to talk about science fiction, see what happens is today's miracle is tomorrow's science by and large, right? Ganesha was created by the head being chopped off and the head of an elephant being substituted, which cannot be seen as head transplant, as many people might want to see it. Okay, the thing
Yeah.
is, you have to narrow down the meaning of science fiction for it to have any significance, for it to be useful in some way, right? So we can classify, we can distinguish between what is science fiction and what is not. Now, I mean, the human beings must have seen birds. They saw birds and imagined themselves flying. Therefore, Icarus and that sort of thing. Okay, for it to be science fiction, there has to be some kind of speculative thing. There has to be some kind of causal relationship. That if a person actually came up with how to fly using something, using a certain technology, doing something, and the thing should be on the science, on the possibility of science and impersonal science, not miracles, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about the origins of science fiction, I think the most serviceable definition of the origins is that the 17th, 18th century Enlightenment is a crucial thing. That is when man felt that he had a measure of the universe, that it was no longer given to God. The church lost its importance. Somewhere around all these thinkers like Rousseau, Voltaire, Newton, all of them, 17th, 18th centuries, they would be very important influences, because science fiction is not only to do with physical sciences, right? It has to do with biology, it has to do with social sciences also. How mankind should be, how society should be, yeah, how society should be, and that sort of thing, right? So it seems to have had its background, the scientific thing, it seems to have had its background in voyages around the world, basically, because the alien thing was one of the first voyages around the world, when men ran into the when explorations, when they ran into natives, they treated the natives as savages and ill-treated them. So that gave a thing to, the experience of man with the natives was, shall we say, converted into the experience of man with aliens. How man treated natives became an instance of how colonized those countries, those lands became, not countries, lands, became a kind of example of how mankind became an inspiration for how mankind is colonized by aliens who are even superior to men, to men. Okay. So the thing is, the important thing is the imagined utopia. When you talk about the imagined utopia, imagined land, imagined future, you can take all futuristic fiction as science fiction, provided there's some kind of explanation, some kind of speculation. For instance, you look at time machine. Nobody knows what is the science of a time machine, how a time traveler will actually travel, right? You take War of the Worlds. Okay, there is something like what would happen if those foreign aliens from another planet came to Earth and started colonizing the Earth. What would finally destroy them? Not mankind, not men's capacity. What destroys the aliens in War of the Worlds? Bacteria, right?
Yeah.
They're killed by bacteria. They have no resistance against bacteria. So the question is, these multitudes, invisible multitudes, finally destroy the disease is what destroys these aliens. So that was the kind of speculation which the earliest science fiction. Jules Verne was another, for example. But Jules Verne, I think, is not as interesting as Wells, because what Jules, one of the important things said about Jules Verne is that what he said came true. Like, for example, 20,000 Leagues Under the Tree and under the sea. Uh, but my point is that if it came true, it's less valuable as fiction. Okay.
I mean,
it
yeah,
is it's
that's
it's
an
not the
interesting way of looking
possible.
at
He's
it.
dealing with probables. Okay, when probables is a slightly different thing. And so the question is it's not very difficult to imagine something which is likely to happen in the next decade, right?
Yeah,
So
but say like he's also written Journey to the Center of the Earth. I mean,
yeah, agreed. He's written that. Yeah, but yeah, but it's. I think Wells is more interesting. Was a
yeah.
more interesting Island of Doctor Moreau. Okay, they were more interesting than the kind of science fiction that Jules Verne wrote. Jules Verne was a more adolescent fiction. Okay,
So would you say that once we take some a very like a genre like science fiction, or say in general any genre, a proper genre structure and its conventions, does it allow filmmakers or writers to be more political in that nature?
that I'll come to at the end. I'll talk about it because there are various categories what we call science fiction, right? Okay, there's a lot of for example. This Starship Troopers is a very political film. Okay, we'll go
Yeah, it
into that a
is.
little
It
later.
is.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go into that a little later. Okay, we'll go to that towards the end. Okay, now the important thing is, okay, more and more, instead of religious certainty, more and more of the world is given to scientific speculation. What are the various laws of nature, and based on that, including sociological laws, right? How does society work? See, for example, you take something like Robinson Crusoe, right? Now, Robinson Crusoe, I don't know if you've seen, you wouldn't have seen Louis Buñuel's film of Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah, I have. I have.
You have, okay. Now there, it's not speculative because he's dealing with the past. He's not dealing with the future. But there, what happens if a man is left on a deserted island with a single savage or whatever to look after or to help him? First of all, he loses faith in God, okay, because he's got a servant, and secondly, he becomes the bourgeois gentleman, and the servant, that man becomes the servant. So they dress up
Yeah.
like bourgeois gentleman and servant. So the entire thing is it's a kind of less political once again. It's when Defoe wrote what about this what's it, adventure novel Robinson Crusoe, his thing was not like this. That was not science fiction, but it's one of the early novels where actually men land and they talk about relationships. So what you're saying about politics is true there. Okay. Now, the important thing is all science fiction should be speculative in some sense. That is, it should have some kind of scientific explanation. It should be there's a definition of science fiction: realistic speculation about possible future events based solidly on adequate knowledge of the real world, past and present, on a thorough understanding of nature and the significance of the scientific method. Now, this Pushpaka Vimana will not answer to this. This is a definition given by a science fiction writer called Heinlein. Okay. Now, should we go to the second slide? Fantasy and science fiction. Okay. Fantasy is supposedly, according to this Bulgarian theorist called Todorov, said it breaks up on examination into three things. The basic thing of fantasy, he says, is it is a question. It begins with strange happenings. He talks about this strange happenings, which, when investigated, okay, they could result in rational explanations. Now, if you want to look at rational explanations or irrational explanations like supernatural, right? Now, if there are rational explanations, it will be something like Hound of the Baskervilles, right? That he calls uncanny,
Yeah.
which is you take it to be supernatural at some point, but then you investigate it and you find it to be rational explanations, and that he gives the explanation of the thing of uncanny. Then there is this other thing. Sherlock Holmes, a lot of stories like that, because Sherlock Holmes was sort of scientific method is very important to Sherlock Holmes. You can't have supernatural there, right? Sussex vampire, when a woman is suspected to be a vampire and then it's revealed to be something else, right? That is the fairly common thing. The second one is that when it breaks up, when you break it up, you find that this explanation given is irrational, that is supernatural, a ghost, a vampire, something like that. Okay. For example, you take Exorcist. Okay.
Yeah.
Exorcist begins with unnatural explanations, and you want to look for it, you look for this, you look for that. That hesitation is created in the mind of the spectator, um, hesitating between a rational explanation and an irrational explanation, right? So the question is, when you pause at the irrational explanation, that is one which finally triumphs, then you call it fantasy. Okay. Now, the third thing, which he calls marvelous, which is the third one, is called marvelous, is something like Lord of the Rings or Alice in Wonderland, where a whole new universe is created in the course of the story, right? Okay. Now, this is generally the three components of fantasy, they say.
But if we say that ghosts exist, how can horror movies be fantasy?
Horror movies are fantasy. Look, these are all overlapping, right? See, all these categories are overlapping. See, for example, science fiction is, you take the fly is science fiction, right?
Yeah,
It's horror, it's
yeah,
science
it's horror
fiction.
and science fiction.
Horror
Yeah.
has to do with the emotion. The emotion aroused is horror. Okay, horror is not fear. I don't want, I'll briefly go into this. Horror is the opposite of, what is fear? The opposite of desire, right?
Yeah.
Desire is one side, the opposite is fear. The opposite of horror is wonder. So it's the opposite of wonder. When you are fascinated by something, instead of that you are revolted by something that is horror. Now all these horror is not a, shall we say, it's not a category which is defined in the same way. It depends on the emotions aroused. Whereas science fiction is by the actual plot characteristics. So you can say, for example, that Alien is science fiction. Okay, it's not speculative science fiction as much as science. It is science fiction, whereas your it is also horror, right? Does that answer your question? Right?
Yeah,
They are
Rajat,
not mutually exclusive. Horror and science fiction. So part of some, yeah. Okay, all right, okay. Now we come to this thing. When you look at so the uncanny, fantasy, uncanny, and marvelous. These are generally the three categories under fantasy, under what we broadly call fantasy. Uncanny is a Sherlock Holmes story. Fantasy would be a ghost story or a horror story like Exorcist. Okay, or this thing would be something like marvelous would be something like
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Now you come to science. This what was normally
So
called science fiction.
I have a question. Like for example, say a film like Wizard of Oz, where a character travels from the regular world into a fantasy world.
This is marvelous. See, the
That's
thing is,
marvelous.
yeah, even this one, for instance, Alice in Wonderland. It's a dream.
Yeah.
So at the end of the thing, she's woken up from the dream. So there's always some connection of that sort. But your Lord of the Rings is written out like a legend in some way. It's a legend of something, of some other Earth. It's trying to build up a mythology around some place called Middle Earth, right? But Alice in
Yeah.
Wonderland has this thing outside the thing. Wizard of Oz is also fantasy, but it's marvelous, right?
Yeah.
It's a different kind of world.
Vanshaj has a very interesting question. He says, so do expectations of the viewer matter? In a sense, like, for example, a film like Talash or Kissa, where Irfan Khan's Kissa or
Okay.
Talash, where it's structured like say, like an uncanny, uncanny kind of a fantasy that, okay, so there has to be a logical explanation behind this.
Okay.
But in the end, it's just turns out like, it's a fantasy. Like in Talash, it
Yeah.
turned out that
Yeah,
it was,
expectation. See, the whole point is a ghost story. You don't anticipate a ghost, right? You don't expect a ghost. If you know right from the beginning that this is a ghost is allowed, that ghost is supposed to give you some, and it's not that the ghost doesn't have an explanation. There is an explanation, but it's an occult explanation. Usually, it is that the person had an unfulfilled desire, and he died, and the result of that and that particular thing became kind of manifested in this ghost. This is a fairly common thing, right? So that expectations can go either way. In fact, your expectations are aroused. It could be rational, it will be a Sherlock Holmes story. If it's irrational, it will be a ghost story. Okay? You get
yeah.
my point?
So yeah, one should, so like, from a fantasy, it turns into an uncanny by the
No,
revelation.
no, no.
It's all,
Yeah, you don't know
yeah,
until the explanation is offered whether it's
until the
uncanny
explanation
or
is offered.
fantasy, right? You know only when the explanation is offered. You take something like Bisalbad. What is Bisalbad? Bisalbad is actually uncanny. It's not fantasy, right? That ghost is not real. It is somebody pretending
Yeah.
to be a ghost. Actually, it's a remake of, it's a Hound of the Baskervilles retold.
Yeah.
Bisalbad, if you've seen the film. Okay, now
Yeah.
you come to what is normally called science fiction. What is Star Wars as
It is,
fantasy?
it's,
Marvelous,
yeah,
right?
it's marvelous. Yeah, it's a marvelous.
Marvelous, right? Star Wars is marvelous. What would you call Predator and ET?
Hmm. Predator and ET, they would,
Predator. See, Predator has equivalent in the fantasy thing, right? Instead of having ghost, you have alien, but basically it's the same thing. You've got happenings of some sort which cannot be explained, invisible. So the explanation when you come, it is not ghost, which would make it fantasy. It would become alien, which would make it pseudo SF. I wouldn't call it SF. It's pseudo SF. Same thing with ET, right? then finally, what is basically Predator doing? If you remove that alien from there, which is not very much of the alien, it's basically a kind of action film where
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger, it's a kind of vehicle for Schwarzenegger as a strong man, right? That's
true.
basically it. If you look at E.T., for instance, if you look at E.T., E.T. is what? Family drama, right? It's
Yeah,
family drama, but again, you've got unexplained happenings, and then it turns out instead of a ghost, it could have been a ghost as well, right? A child's
yeah,
ghost or something. But the
totally.
question is, it happens to be an alien, right? You get me? Okay. Now, let me ask you a question in about this ET, right?
Can Predator be explained rationally
With
like Sherlock
Alien,
Holmes?
what has happened today is Alien has become a rational explanation, right?
Yeah,
It's a kind of quasi or a rather pseudo rational explanation. So the question is, it's not irrational. When you say alien, when you say he came from other planet and they're coming from some other planet and they're eating up and tasting human meat or whatever, you're still pretending that it's rational, right? Okay. Okay, it's still you pretending it's that. Do you think audience feels cheated when some explained? That depends on
explain
the
anything.
kind of film, on the capacity of the filmmaker. You can't make. I don't think you can give a general thing of how the audience would feel cheated or not. You know very well in Predator. You know from the thing that is an alien film when you before you go to the theater, right? You're not going to go to the theater imagining. So there's no suspense about that. Generally, there's some things written about it by word of mouth. It'll get around. Okay, now let me ask you a question about this film E.T., right? Why in E.T. is that father absent in the film? Why is
Hmm.
the father? Just to tell you that it's family drama. Why is the father absent in the film?
Like, what's the purpose of him being absent
Yeah, what? Yeah,
from
what
the
is the
story?
purpose? Why is he being made absent in the film?
Yeah, because that only kind of justifies the kids longing for someone, for some sort of a
Yeah, it
companionship.
ionizes the family. That absence
Yeah,
creates a
that
kind
absence
of
creates.
charge on the family, which
Yeah,
means you can bring the thing. Makes the melodrama stronger. Okay,
yeah,
it's not a scientific thing. It's basically a family drama. That the alien could have very well been a what's it called, a little juvenile delinquent or something. It could have been anything, right? A
true.
little boy who's got something, a boy with magical thing. If it had been a boy who had been a ghostly boy, it would have been fantasy. If it had been a regular boy with some other problems, it would have been a family drama, right?
Yeah,
A humane family drama. The important thing is that these are basically what you call are basically when you use science fiction formulae, science fiction motives to explain, to put it into something else. It's not really science fiction in that sense. It fits into fantasy in some way. It fits into family drama. It fits into action. See, for example, you take something like okay, let's take another film. Have you seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
yeah.
What do you think is the thing of Close Encounters of the Third Kind? It's not fantasy.
It's
No, what from what I defined, just for defined, it doesn't.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Okay.
It's not fantasy.
Yeah, it's not fantasy. Like, because
It's
rational.
not. It's not
Yeah.
uncanny. It's not marvelous, right? What is it exactly?
It is. Yeah. It's hard to like put it in a box like among
It
these
is.
three. But
You know what it is? It's a biblical tale. Those things are God. God's coming and creating a miraculous thing. Like I don't
and
know.
there's
I
a
don't know.
chosen one as well.
They're
Yeah.
chosen. They're chosen. They're taken away. Like if you've seen Indian film, mythological film called Sant Tukaram,
Yeah.
Tukaram is finally taken away in
Heaven. He
the
goes to
Pushpaka
heaven. Yeah.
Vimana. Is taken off to heaven, right? That people are coming down, angels are coming down, taking away Christ's body is being taken away. Something is being taken. He goes off to heaven. It has got this thing. It's actually a religious film in some sense, except that the religion is replaced by this this thing of the spaceship,
Yeah.
right? The spaceship has to be spectacular. The same thing with 2001. How does one explain that 2001 really? What does that mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Because
What is that?
2001
Who are these
also
people,
has
right?
that. Yeah. It has this element of fantasy. It is an element of fantasy, but it later on kind of blurs the line between a
Yeah,
fantasy
it
and that
again.
religious
He
thing.
has
Yeah.
it. I'm not so sure about that. I think it's also more it's more religious in some sense.
Yeah. It is.
2001, right?
It totally
Religious.
is.
Yeah.
And somewhere I think even Arthur C. Clarke also said that it was about like it was almost like there was these beings, these superior beings who observed
Yeah,
humans
correct,
like a
correct.
human zoo. It was
Yeah.
like a human
But the
zoo,
question is, the
and the
superior
transcendence.
beings, Once you bring these
Yeah,
superior beings
it
without
becomes very
explaining
religious.
them, you're virtually replacing God with them, right?
True, true,
It's
true,
basically that.
true.
So what has happened today is Alien has become an explanatory device used in film after film after film. When when they don't want to explain something, they'll say Alien. Have you seen Spider-Man 3? You've seen Spider-Man 3?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That
Okay.
black entity that
Yeah,
comes
what
through.
is that?
Yeah,
See,
it's an alien.
even there, Spider-Man becomes black, right? He becomes black.
Yeah.
No,
So
certainly
can
not.
Marvel.
Please, Ramayana, Mahabharata are not science fiction. There would be people who would call it science fiction, but it's not because there is no rational thing. There is the miracles. The miracles are happening, and it's a thing of God, and so it's not really science fiction. Okay. So what is that? That creature which comes out of somewhere, out of a meteor, and comes and contaminates Spider-Man, and makes his suit black. That is obviously an extraterrestrial creature, but it's basically used, and there's no further mention of it, as if it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah,
It's used in lieu of nobody knows. Okay, so what happens is instead of saying nobody knows, you replace that nobody knows with the thing of the extraterrestrial, with the alien. This has been done by an alien, right?
yeah,
Okay, so now we go to the next thing, which is
yeah. Ankit
horror
ne
and
next slide.
disaster film. The important thing is that with the increase in with the special effects that the film is capable of producing, um, there's a lot of they can produce a lot of spectacle without it getting speculative. So you've got these two things: one is horror and the other is this disaster. I don't know exactly. Can time story? Yes, yeah. Time story, but there has to be some kind of explanation for time, some kind of thing there. I don't know. Would you call that time travel? He goes. There's one fantasy thing. No, I forget the name of that.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Yeah. But would
Yeah.
you call that science fiction? I don't know. It can be
I
solved.
mean, but of course, it is a little like in that sense that it talks about something that in a realistic manner it kind of quantifies
Yeah,
the idea
give you
of time
something. They
travel.
say you meet your grandmother. You.
Yeah, and also it
Hmm.
talks about a lot of things in the sense that like the time machine, like SG Wells imagined that okay, the world is going to be like this. It
Yeah.
also had a thing like it has a very undercurrent political undertones.
Yeah.
Like
Correct.
all throughout
Yeah, for
2015,
example, long
1945.
back, I don't know if you're aware of this. They had a novel by the name of The Fifth Horseman or so. I don't know, where some futuristic something where Gaddafi plants a nuclear bomb
Oh, yeah.
New
Right.
York. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not sure that the Gaddafi didn't meet his fate because of that book. I'm not so sure. Could very well have, the book could have influenced policymakers in America when they're growing up or something. So the
Can
result is, yeah,
happen.
it could have happened. Okay,
Totally
all
can
this is very
happen.
political, right?
Yeah.
Now we come to the horror film. What exactly is a horror film? What is the emotion aroused by a horror film? Now, if you look at horror films, by and large, what happens is the horror film seems to be dealing with something, a thing of revulsion, largely what is called body horror, right? There's a certain sense of your body being contaminated by some foreign organism. Okay. Now, what is the contaminant in Exorcist? If it's Exorcist, is a horror film.
Yeah, the contaminant is the Pazuzu spirit that is
Pazuzu,
inside him.
right?
Yeah.
It's a kind of sort of, shall we say, a pagan deity which
Yeah.
contaminates a Christian, right? That the contamination of the Christian world and the Christian body, more important than Christian world. Where if all the horror elements in Exorcist have to do with the body becoming being the receptacle for this pagan element called Pazuzu, which is a Assyrian deity or some such thing, and then all the puking, the vomit, all that stuff, the ghastly stuff, is all as a result of the body being contaminated. It's not simply the world being contaminated. Then there is another. What about take something like say something like uh, Psycho? How does Psycho work? It again, dead body being brought alive. It's a contaminated space is the house. I think it's not necessarily the body. If it's the body being contaminated, it becomes called body horror in some way.
Wouldn't it be a more of a psychological thriller than a horror, because it was
It's
of
I know,
course
but
about
the emotion I think is that it's
more than horror. It
uncanny.
was
Yeah,
more
it's
thriller.
uncanny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
uncanny. Totally.
uncanny. But there's a certain emotion it arouses. I don't know. It's called horror. I don't know about whether whether it's really horror or not. But it has a certain one thing is there some recess of the recess of some part
Yeah,
of the
but it
world.
also has elements of, say, noir and
No,
uh,
no, no, no noir. I think in Psycho.
no, but
So
because of course there's a girl who's running away with money. There's something like,
yeah,
and
but
then
she's disposed of in no time at all. Psycho is horror. Yeah, Psycho is horror. So I think there's another thing of horror, another kind of horror which is a little different. Deliverance, for example. I don't know if you've seen Deliverance.
Deliverance.
Yeah,
No.
it's usually like a corner of the world. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
Okay, it has to be in a corner of the world which nobody has seen, right? When they come venture into that place, it's contaminated by something. It's contaminated by blood. It is contaminated. It's not necessarily body which is contaminated. That is one kind of horror, but this contamination of the world, a part of the world by some kind of thing, seeping blood, okay, or the kind of savages in something like Deliverance. Lord of the Flies, for example, is a novel has also got elements of horror, right? Something, savages coming, running amok, something happening. There's a lot of stuff like I think what you call a slasher film, what you call normally slasher film, usually happens in some remote area.
remote area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
remote
I know
area.
what you did last summer. Scream.
It's a contaminant of some sort in that remote area, which it doesn't won't happen in the center of New York by and large, or
True.
it'll have to be in some ancient building in New York. I think. What is this? So that is the basic thing, that contaminant is necessary. It could be a place, a space contaminated, or by and large, like a ghost contaminates a space. Okay, so yeah, okay, all right, okay. Now the fly is body horror. It is the person's body contaminated by DNA, right? From the thing of the fly. Have you seen Cronenberg's Dead Ringers? Have any of you seen Dead Ringers by Cronenberg?
Yeah, I've seen.
You've seen it. What
I've
is
seen
is there a thing of contamination there?
that. What was the thing of contamination?
Yeah, it is one man's personality contaminated. You get me? The one brother's personality is contaminated by the others, which is why he says whatever goes into my bloodstream goes directly
Goes
into
into
his,
yours. Yeah,
right. So it's his personality which is because these two are like Siamese twins. The personality of one is contaminated by the other.
by the other.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a kind of horror. It's also horror, but the point is it's very subtle. It doesn't work like these other things. It's not revulsion in that level. Okay, now you come to the disaster film. What is a disaster film? Disaster film has to show mass destruction. I don't know. What do you think is the attraction of the disaster film? Why do people love this disaster film? See, these
Because the
are all,
speculation is too
yeah.
high. Like, this can happen
No,
on a global scale.
something like, is it the relief that when you realize the whole thing is fiction? Is that possible? That
Yeah,
more
yeah,
actually
of course,
shown,
of course.
right?
The horror, the fear of like this actually happening, and by the end everything going back to normal.
Yeah, going no that thing
That
of
high.
expectation that
Yeah,
also when you're living it, that sense that this is actually fiction that we are going to come out of it. It may be like a roller coaster ride, right?
yeah, exactly.
A
Like a
roller
roller
coaster
coaster.
ride is rewarding because you know that what you're experiencing will pass, right? It's a certain thing of fear with a shall we say with an attendant feeling of with an attendant of relief. Okay, so I think I mean that is one explanation. See, all these are completely are what I'm talking about is speculative. One really doesn't know. I mean, what exactly are the attractions of disaster? But that could be one of the reasons. Okay, so you could look at the kind of science fiction with disaster. You have the Japanese monster film that works as disaster, not as horror, and that is obviously based on the thing of nuclear contamination, nuclear thing radiation, monsters created by radiation. So that entire thing of Rodan, of
Godzilla.
Godzilla, okay, all of them are basically disaster films, right? So I think that is the main reason. Can we go to the next slide?
Before the year 2020, the
Before
movie Contagion could have been called fantasy.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's fantasy. Even now, it is a fantasy in some sense. It's not. No, it's not fantasy. It's what is called science fiction, whatever science fiction fantasy. Yeah, it is. It is a kind of fantasy because it begins with some, why is this happening? Why is this sort of explanations given? Explanations not turning out. It was even now. It is because this COVID. I mean, is um, COVID is not really the kind of stuff you have in Contagion, right? There you have a kind of whole mankind likely to wiped out and all that. This is not really like that. Okay, now we come to speculative science fiction, which is really the hardcore of science fiction. There's another one which is shall we say, a sequel to Alien. Some other people, I don't know what.
Prometheus, I think.
Prometheus, yeah.
Yeah.
Prometheus, you just point out to say, though they that from that planet. You don't have an explanation actually. You just go on and on, pointing out something, pointing out there. What exactly is 2001? Who are these people? What is this? Is there an explanation there? Is there even
Yeah.
speculation there? I don't know about that. I'm not really sure. I'm not confident of it is science fiction. Anybody has any opinion on this? Any shall we say disagreement on this? I'm not so sure that it works. Up to that, it works as science fiction when he's forecasting the kind of spaceships, how they work and that sort of thing. There is science fiction there, but the ending, I'm not sure that it's science fiction. Okay, there is of course something about that they become man. There is something undercurrent there, subtext there, that when ape became man, when it started to learn to kill, is a fundamental philosophical
Yeah.
premise there in
Yeah.
that film. Yeah, so that if you look at it, maybe there is
And
science,
then
right?
transcending into
Yeah.
some other being.
Okay. Now, Jurassic Park, would you call it science fiction speculative? It is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
science fiction.
Yeah.
Not Jurassic Park 2, right?
Yeah. No,
Jurassic Park 2 is not science fiction anymore.
it's a disaster
It's
film, I
a
think. Yeah.
disaster film and it's gone on the basic premise which is created by the first thing. It's no longer science fiction. The first
Yeah.
one is science fiction, number the two is not. Terminator, what about Terminator?
It is. It is a science fiction film.
What do you think sparked of Terminator? That's a speculative thing. Why did that movie come about it exactly? 1990s, right?
80s, 84, I think.
Is it
84 or 83, I think. Yeah.
84, 83? Okay. What do you think is the reason for that Terminator to come out? What is the historical where did that idea come from?
I don't know. I mean, perhaps like of course, it was about someone traveling back in time to save.
No. The basic thing is what? The basic thing in Terminator is not traveling back in time. That's an old thing. The basic thing is the fact that computers will take over the world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the basic
Skynet,
thing,
yeah.
right? And you say computers are going to take over the world. You remember that millennium bug? People were scared that 2000, when the day crossed, all the existing software would be useless and the computers would
Yeah.
turn on
Yeah.
men, right? So I
Yeah.
think it was created by that fear of the millennium bug. What would happen? So I think so. That entire Terminator was that kind of fear which was there in public. What would happen if computers took over man, created by that millennium bug? There was a lot of speculation at that time. What will happen if the computers are not going to be in control? People were frightened of that. So that millennium bug, Indians made a lot of money removing that millennium bug from computers and all that, debugging computers, etc., etc. And maybe even 1990, 95, 96, it was really big. So I think that whole Terminator thing was based on that. It was a scientific thing. It was speculative. Terminator 2, no. Terminator 2, it becomes action film, it becomes something else. Terminator 1 is still speculative. Okay. Now, you find that when you go into which other countries which produce speculative science fiction, it usually has to do with the scientifically advanced countries.
Yeah.
And the reason is they must have confidence in some way, right? They must have confidence that when they're talking about some particular advance, that they have control over some kind of knowledge of that advance, right? So you
What,
find, sorry,
what is the reason that we don't see a lot of European countries, except for like say what the USSR used to be, uh, except for the Soviet films? Why aren't there many French science fiction films that are into the
there aren't,
mainstream as
no,
we
they're
know?
not. As I said earlier, science fiction seems to have something of being a world power. And France has not been a world power. England was, and then it produced science fiction at that time, right?
Yeah.
H.G. Wells and Jules Verne was probably the only person. Maybe his science fiction is maybe possibilities. dealing with possibilities rather than really, technologically not very, what do you say, his imagination is not so fecund as this Wells's thing. But I think that is the thing, that you must have the sense that your culture, your country is at the forefront of scientific advance, so that when you're at the forefront of scientific advance, any speculation you do is valid in some way. Like you
But
and I
neither
can.
is but neither is Japan. Of course, it's a technological
Where is
giant, but
Japan? What is the science fiction Japan has
like
produced?
I mean, even in terms of disaster films, we don't see disaster films coming from France as well.
France, yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I don't know. It's, yeah, you've got a point there. Even England doesn't produce disaster films.
Yeah,
They don't produce. Disaster film seems to be very specifically American. I don't know what exactly the reason is, but it's probably this celebration of property of some sense, right? For example, who produced? Yeah, France is a political cinema.
yeah,
Yeah, it
political cinema,
has.
of course.
It
Like
has.
third world countries, we have a
Yeah.
lot
No, I'm
of
saying America. They created the neutron bomb, right? Neutron bomb is supposed to kill people and preserve property, right? So there is this great, shall we say, of property, of celebration of owning property in America, which you won't find in the European countries. This thing of fancy cars, that kind of thing of property. This great sense of owning property is very strong in America. You
in a
won't
very
find that in,
materialistic sense.
yeah,
Like
yeah, I mean, but you won't find that in Europe very much. The sense of
yeah, of
owning
course.
property, right?
So,
So this question of destruction of property becomes a threat of some sort,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
can be tapped into. It can be tapped into to produce disaster film. If you have, you celebrate. You look, I'll tell you. Let's look at it, right? When you see a huge building being brought down, there's a celebration in some sense of the building. It's of the beauty of the building, and the more beautiful the building, the more thrill its destruction gives us, right?
Yeah.
Okay, there is something there connected. The huger something is, the more impressive something is, the more it sort of its destruction causes us, the more thrill it causes us. Okay,
True.
so that is the reason Europe doesn't. Now, if you look at American and Russian science fiction, they're very different from each other. American science fiction seems to have great confidence that the end results of the thing will be, there could be side effects, but the side effects are not major. They can be gotten over in some way or the got over in some way or the other. Whereas Russian science fiction, I would recommend Stalker. I would recommend a film called Four. I would recommend that. It's an interesting film and not a very good film, but it begins, I think the first half is very good. It's a kind of thing about cloning, right? In Stalin's time, they were trying to clone people. This is the premise of the film. And they found out that cloning four is a very stable kind of cloning. Therefore, each person they produced clones of four of each. And these clones, many of them were malfunctioning or something. So there are colonies where these clones live. Okay. Now there you're talking about the byproducts of science. You're not talking about science itself. So what concerns a lot of this, a lot of science, so Soviet science fiction, is more the byproducts of science, because nobody knew, because given the secrecy of scientific social experiments, scientific experiments under Stalin, nobody knew what the scientific things were. So that imagination work. For example, I would say the Strugatsky brothers. The Strugatsky brothers, they're always talking about the after effects, the side effects, the byproducts of scientific investigation. They're not a scientific method, the scientific inventions. They're talking about the byproducts, right? Stalker is written by Strugatsky brothers. The original is called Roadside Picnic.
What do you think is the reason why like Russia had that kind of a perspective on science fiction?
I think there's too much of secrecy. It was never made open. They kept, they were doing all kinds of science. They were trying to catch up on America. They had these scientific cities. It was never done openly. They had these very scientific cities. All Stalin's operation was kept away from the scientific cities where scientists could say anything. So they were, they were kept away from the rest of the thing. They were doing experiments. So that
But then
great
again,
mythology built up, right? That mythology built up about secret science in Soviet Union. America, the science was more or less everybody knew what was happening. It was called secret or some such thing. Something
but
your
then again, like they made these films, and of course, the government had laws and a certain sense of censorship as well, but they got away with it. So, what
no
do you
no no
think?
no
Like,
no wait a minute. These films are coming out after the end of the Gorbachev, after Gorbachev. Cold War, the Cold War, there were not so many, Cold War, not so many science fiction films, except this thing. It doesn't, I mean, your Amphibian Man is not really about the after effects. That's not, doesn't fit this. What we're talking
That's a
about
very
is a
socialist. Amphibian Man is a very socialist way of
socialistic
looking at
kind of
that thing.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You've seen it?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it, sir.
Okay. Yeah, actually, they've stolen it quite big, large bits of it in
The
Shape
Shape
of
of Water.
Water. Yeah.
Yeah.
They've done that quite casually. They've taken a bits of it.
Hmm.
So the point is, what I'm trying to make is that Russian science fiction is basically dealing with the byproducts of science. They're dealing with the after effects and all that sort of thing. They have no faith that science will do. They seem to think, and not only that, you must remember one thing. They don't have, see, one thing, America was trying to push science as some kind of great thing, and there was a big publicity around science. They built up, scientists were celebrities in some way. Russian scientists, not many people knew about them. They were working
Yeah.
underground. They were working far away from everywhere. They were not working in Moscow. They were working somewhere else. So there was a very secret. So the question is, when something is secret, then there'll be a mythology built up around it, right? Okay. Like, for example, I mean, now, see, you take something like Shape of Water. If you take Shape of Water, what is Shape of Water about actually? It's basically a kind of mythological explanation for something like military asset. Nobody knows what military asset is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is an asset? What they call an asset, right? We don't know what it is. So you build up a whole story around that. So there's a lot of stuff outside there. Nowadays there's a lot of stuff with the security concerns and all that. There's a lot of technology which is outside the public realm, which is only with the defense. Now see, for example, where does Iron Man come from? What is an Iron Man suit, right? It's obviously depends on some kind of it depends on the ignorance of the public in some way on what scientific advances are possible and what are not. Iron Man is different from Superman, right? Different from Batman. There's an element
Yeah.
of science fiction there of some
No.
sort, right? There's some scientific invention he has,
True.
right? And what is it being used for? It is being used to solve the Afghanistan problem, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, you don't know, your public doesn't know exactly what the political situation is. So you give them feel good situations like this Iron Man suit, which is going to help them win the war, that sort of thing. Okay, that is the way it works. If Superman and Batman can get together, Batman is supposed to be actually a human being. Superman is not a human being. When they can get together, you don't know, you lose track of whether it's fantasy, what exactly is it. One is from an alien planet, one fellow is from the earth, okay? And they're completely different. Basic premises are different, but they're getting together somehow. India has not produced science fiction. What is the reason? First of all, the reason, as far as I can say, is all these science fiction is based on the historical present. They're grounded in the historical present. You get me? Okay. The historical present, in the sense, is a future likelihood which is based on what is happening today. Okay. Now you look at A.G. Wells, it was colonization, it was all that, right, which caused the historical present. It was the condition of the working class. It was specifically grounded in that particular time of the 19th century, industrial revolution and all that, right? In India, Indian films don't deal with the historical present.
But like for, certain films like say Mr. India, perhaps.
Ravan I've not seen. It seems to be robot. Krish certainly doesn't fall. No,
So
Krish
Chris is
doesn't
a
fall.
superhero film, I think.
No, Krish doesn't. Even the first one, Koi Mil Gaya, it's certainly not. What is that about? It's about an Indian. It's actually a celebration of Indian technology at the time of at the time of that IT early days of the IT industry. That Indians were leading in the technology in the world. People had that feeling at that time. So then this Indian scientist is there, and the Westerners make fun of him. Just look at that First Cause, right?
Yeah.
If Westerners make fun of him, this man is somehow, and then a alien comes and talks to this man because he is the person who has understood aliens. There's no science there, just alien, and then he comes and gives this guy imparts magical powers to this boy. I think so, some such thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really science fiction at all. So science fiction has not existed.
Yeah,
It's
but say a film like Anthiran, it was in Hindi, it was called Robot, Rajnikant's film.
yeah, the
In
robot, but is there any science in that? I don't know. I've not seen it. I
he
don't. You'll
creates
have
a
to.
humanoid. He creates a humanoid who
Yeah,
develops human
correct. Yeah,
emotion.
but the point is the very fact of creation of humanoid is not. You must give him. You see, all these are there in the public space, right? It's a new avatar for Rajnikant to appear in. That's about it. It's not that there is really any belief in science or there's any. I mean, just because you bring in a robot there doesn't become science fiction. You can't bring in an alien and say it's science fiction. You have to be speculative in some way, add some new thing to it. A certain is it grounded in this in the historical present? I doubt it. I've not seen this movie. I've seen one called some robot film in Kannada, which I think was a precursor of this Thiran or whatever. I seriously doubt it. It would just be an occasion for Rajnikant to act in a new way. That's all. That would be the thing. Okay. You already know that robot is it's a term people are using. It's no longer, like alien, robot, spaceship. Avatar,
Rhoda.
Avatar is actually okay. I'll come to this in the last section. Okay. Let's go to the last section. Next one. Parody, satire, fable, and allegory. These are the various other categories which science fiction motifs can be used in. What is parody? Parody is making fun of science fiction, right? Have you seen a parody of science fiction? What would you call as parody of science fiction?
Wild Wild West,
I've
the
not
Will
seen it.
Smith film. Yeah, when he travels.
I've seen Spaceballs with the Mel Brooks.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Spaceballs, yeah.
Spaceballs. So the point is scientific sci-fi motifs can be used in other kinds. Spaceballs, for instance, it's making fun of Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And what he does is he says, this is a Barf, his name of somebody called Barf, which I believe means vomit. Barf is the name. He's half man, half dog. He's his own best friend. That is the slogan. Okay. So he's basically making fun of, the spaceship is going on and on and on. It goes for 5 minutes. You just go on seeing the spaceship, right? So this is basically making fun. That is parody, making fun of it. What is satire? Satire is making use of science fiction motives to make fun of society. Making fun of society or making political. It becomes political. Satire is usually political. What do you think is the satire? Can you name a satire American film? RoboCop is satire. Okay.
In terms of
Robo,
science fiction,
it's more than science fiction. It is satire in the shape of science fiction. This one is satire. Which one? This Starship Troopers. Okay.
yeah.
Starship Troopers is basically a political film about this xenophobia, about this. For example, people, locals celebrating and that speech made in the UN. We have to decide. Eyes wide shut. No. Eyes
No,
wide
it's
shut
not.
is no, no, no,
Eyes
no, no,
Wide Shut is no.
no, no. It's not. Okay. They celebrate by stamping on cockroaches. We have to decide right now whether human life or insect life is going to dominate the universe or dominate the galaxy. Is the kind of speech they would make in UN, right?
Yeah.
Just making fun of that, right? That's the kind of speeches that they make. And this whole thing about, what do you take for the brain bug? See, for example, what do you understand? This was made long before the Iraq war, but just look at this, okay? What is the brain bug? People taking selfies with the brain bug. That brain bug is somebody caught. Isn't it Saddam Hussein or Gaddafi? Okay, finally caught, finally brought, and everybody celebrating this. It's basically that, right? He's making fun of that. That I mean, he's doing it very carefully, because if he does it openly and he doesn't say US, it turns out into some federation or some such thing. There's a lot of stuff here which is extremely, which is very incendiary. If you take the, which you take if you take it, what it means. So the point is that it's actually satire, a very sharp satire. Which one? Starship Troopers. What is fable? What is that? Wall-E? Wall-E? You've seen that?
Yeah, Wally. Yeah.
Wall-E. It's a kind of thing. It's a fable about a good message. You use scientific, sci-fi, what do you say, motives to send out this message to the public, right? What is allegory? Let's look at allegory. I mean, I've not been asking me questions. Is it too elusive what I'm saying, or are you comfortable with it? I can't tell. See, allegory is something presented as something else is allegory. That is a story about a political story. If you tell us political story in the form of a fairy tale, it becomes, this Avatar is a good example of an allegory. At that particular time, there was this thing of carbon credits and all. I don't know if you know that. If the Nami were given carbon credits, for instance, there would be no reason to colonize them, rather. So the question is, you want to exploit another planet, destroy the, please.
Avatar is more of an
Environmental. It's an allegory. It's a kind of environmental movie. It's a kind of allegory using science fiction motives to talk about something else. In this particular case, there's something else. There's a lot of allegory in Hindi cinema is full of allegories. It's always full of allegory. So it's you could say that. For example, Mother India. Why call it Mother India? It's an allegory that town is that village is a kind of for in whole of India. Okay, the community represents India. All that is there. Hum Aapke Hain Kaun is some kind of allegory with the nation being represented by the family gatherings. All that, but these are no, whereas your Mother India and all not obvious allegories, whereas your metaphor is usually a phrase or some such thing. But
And metaphor is something
yeah,
that carries a meaning, like it's
yeah,
a
correct. Yeah, it's somewhat, yeah, it is a kind of metaphor, something representing something else. But an allegory is a whole story, right? A whole story which has got a parallel somewhere else. Allegory has to be the story represents something real, not another story. Hum Saath Saath Hai is supposed to be an allegory. It's not an allegory. It's a kind of, shall we say, contemporization of the Ramayana. Allegory would mean some actual political fact or his, for
like
example,
mother, like Darren Aronofsky's Mother.
I've not seen that. For example,
It's a
this one is
biblical allegory.
allegory. You could, like your, it's also satire. Satire is negative in the sense it's criticism. Allegory is not criticism. So there's a lot of allegory. Something representing something else keeps happening all the time can be seen as allegory. So I think Avatar is a good example of science fiction as allegory. Okay,
Yeah.
you had these, these press by John Bunyan, where you had qualities represented by people. Okay, sloth is one person. I'm not sure if sloth featured there. Um, so all these allegorical things are given those human names. Human beings are given those names that represent those qualities. That is one way. So allegory is basically a representation of something as something else, a story. So in a parallel story kind of thing, it wouldn't Hum Saath Saath Hai wouldn't be, but this one would be. Supposing you wrote an allegory of some political happening in India or somewhere in other country, and you told it. Suppose you did Trump and you made fun of Trump in some way by talking about some dictatorship, Roman dictatorship of some sort, where someone you put whatever Trump does, you put it into that dictator's head or
Yeah,
something.
like Charlie Chaplin's The Great
For
Dictator.
example, they said that Girish Karnad's Tughlaq is a kind of allegory for Nehru.
Yeah.
Okay. That is said. That is it's I mean not definite, but Karnad himself didn't deny it. Therefore, the dreams of independence representing Tughlaq's dreams of producing something. So generally, that Tughlaq was that Jojo Rabbit. I'm not sure. I've not seen this Jojo Rabbit. So
Allegory for what, Rajat? It can be an allegory for what? In Indian context.
so basically, that is the thing of allegory. Okay. I'm not
So
sure
this
about this. If it is
it's
negative, I'll tell you, allegory, we will have to be fairly pakka about what you're doing. Okay. What you're allegorizing. If you're allegorizing some intolerance or something, it'll have to be allegorized in some way. You're allegorizing corrupt. You're talking Kissa Kursi Ka was an allegory of some sort, but also satire, because we're making fun of the politics or something. It was satire. When it's not funny,
like allegory in a sense, like there's a theory that King Kong is an allegory of the African slavery that was carried out by America.
it would allegory will have to be more pakka in sense it'll have to one-to-one correspondence will have to be there.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
could
Like
be it could be
it
a
was about a
satire.
bunch of
Yeah,
people going through to an
yeah,
exotic land,
correct.
as they say,
Yeah,
and
correct.
bringing someone and kind of displaying them
It's
like a
possible. It's possible.
yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
It's a
It could
theory. It's
be.
a theory. So allegory in that sense, but
I don't
I
know. It's
think
not
Jojo
satire.
Rabbit
Maybe you're right. It's got a possible.
was
That is an
Dilse an
explanation.
allegory.
See, for example, this one, for instance, that zombie movie. What is that thing? Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Okay, which I read as an allegory of the condition of the blacks in America in so many ways.
Yeah.
For example, yeah.
Also the zombie film. It's not a zombie film. Yeah, it is a zombie film basically. No, it's a cannibal film. Dibakar Banerjee's short film in Ghost Stories. It was
Okay.
it was an allegory for like it had very similar, like one-on-one correspondence to
Okay.
the Kashmir situation. And also
Okay.
Rajat
It's
is asking, what
possible.
they'll
Yeah.
say an allegory.
Yeah.
It was an allegory in terms of the 7 stages of love. It's a popular
Which
theory
one?
on
Which
the
one?
internet. Dil Se, Mani Ratnam's Dil Se.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. Yeah, I've seen it, but I can't recollect.
Yeah.
Okay. So that any questions? Any questions? I'll recommend the following movies. Okay. I would say Solaris if you've not seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Fly. The Fly I would recommend as science fiction horror. Yeah. Solaris. Russian film. Incidentally, there's a very good Russian site called I think
Russian Film Hub.
Russian Film Hub.
Yeah.
You can see films for free. And in my opinion, Russian films are they've been completely ignored by the rest of the world, but they're way superior to a lot of world cinema. Somebody said metaphor something.
Is allegory, an allegory is usually a story. Oh, he's kind of explaining.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solaris
So
by
you
Andrei
got
Tarkovsky.
Tarkovsky, Stalker by Andrei Tarkovsky. Okay. Stalker by Andrei
Stalker.
Tarkovsky.
Yeah.
Solaris is a philosophical film. Okay, science fiction. All right. It's speculative. It's kind of a Fly. The Fly is horror, which is Cronenberg. The Fly. Amphibian Man is fairy tale. Okay, Amphibian Man is fairy tale. Starship Troopers is satire.
What category is Safe by Todd Haynes?
Who's seen that? It's one of my
Saved by
favorite
Todd.
movies. Oh, okay, Adil. Okay, I know Adil. Okay, Safe is it's horror actually, but I'd look upon it as satire. It can pass off as science fiction also in some way. The Safe is a very interesting film, but I take it as satire. But basically, it is seen as horror. It's again about contamination, right?
Yeah. About the disease and incurable disease.
Yeah. It's a kind of. Have you seen it? I would recommend this film very
I've
much
seen
to everybody. Please.
Yeah, guys.
Okay.
Saved by Todd Haynes it's an indie
Todd
film.
Haynes. Yeah, it's a masterpiece, I think.
Yeah, that is a Russian Film Hub, Utkarsh.
Russian Film Hub. You just check it out. All this great stuff is available there. I would recommend Safe by Todd Haynes. Please watch that. It's it's made in the 1990s, probably one of the great American films of the 1990s. It's quasi science fiction, it's quasi horror, it's quasi satire. So it's done in some way in which it could be, if it's satirical, you'll have to tell me in what way it's satirical. So it has to do a lot with a certain class of society, a certain use of language and all that. But you please have a look at this film. I would strongly recommend this movie, Safe, Todd Haynes. So this completes the thing. If there's anything, somebody's written Dark Lord or something there.
Yeah. What is it?
Okay. Lord of the Rings is marvelous. It's not science fiction. It's just marvelous. Okay.
It's marvelous.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So with this, we come to an end of this session. And thank you for doing this. Thank you everyone. Please like the page Whitebird Trails and share the live stream and put up snaps of it, Instagram, tag us, and just help us reach out more and more.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, sir.